In the dark corners of Bahawalpur, there stands an old Haveli. People say no living soul can survive inside. At night, a heavy fog covers the place, and a strange silence fills the air. In 1950, a family moved in, but the youngest child whispered, "Someone is standing in the corner." Trembling, the boy pointed, and in the shadows stood a black figure. Suddenly, the ancient door slammed shut on its own, and bloodstains began to appear across the walls, as if touched by an invisible hand. Deep inside the Haveli was an old well. Villagers claimed they heard screams rising from it. One night, the eldest son vanished, and by morning his burnt body was found near that very well. Even today, investigators set up cameras, but in the darkness, a hidden shadow always watches them. And in the last hours of the night, a faint red light glows from inside the Haveli, as if a fire is burning within. In the hall, an old cracked mirror reflects the shadow of a woman, though no one is really there. In the narrow passageways, whispers float through the air, as if someone unseen is telling their story right beside you. The dusty grandfather clock strikes midnight, each chime echoing through the silence. In the grand hall, the broken chandelier suddenly crashes down, releasing a shadow with the dust. On the floor, fresh wet footprints appear one by one, yet no one can be seen. From the darkness, glowing red eyes slowly open, all staring straight at you. Torn curtains move violently, as if pulled by invisible hands. On the wall, an old family portrait begins to bleed, the painted faces melting away. Above, a dark figure crawls across the ceiling, its glowing eyes fixed directly on you. And outside, as the storm rages, every flash of lightning makes the Haveli look even more alive and even more cursed. In the darkness of the Haveli, the old staircase creaks as if alive, and a faint candlelight flickers before vanishing into smoke. Shadows on the walls whisper secrets, while blood-stained hands press through broken doors, reaching desperately into the air. A lonely rocking chair sways on its own, and a pale face appears at a shattered window, only to dissolve into fog. Dusty books fly from shelves, iron chains rattle violently, and at the far end of a misty corridor, the ghost of a woman drifts in silence. Blood seeps across the wooden floor, shaping itself into strange symbols. In cracked mirrors, reflections appear that should not exist, while an ancient chandelier crashes to the ground in a stream of dust and sparks. Dozens of glowing eyes stare from the corners of the dark. Bloody handprints drip down the walls, and a broken doll turns its head to watch. Fog consumes the long passage as a figure in white walks slowly into nothingness. Rusted gates swing open by themselves. A noose sways gently from the ceiling, and black crows burst inside through shattered windows. Finally, the very walls of the Haveli crack open, glowing red from within, as if hell itself is waiting just behind them. From the ceiling above, thick drops of blood fall slowly, pooling across the dusty floor, as if the house itself is bleeding. In the hallway, the fleeting shadow of a child races by, leaving only mist behind. The painted eyes of an ancient portrait begin to move, watching with a lifeless stare as heavy doors slam shut on their own. From beneath the floorboards, whispers rise, joined by pale hands pressing up through the cracks. Behind a thin curtain, the silhouette of a woman stands motionless, her presence chilling the air. At midnight, the grandfather clock strikes, its pendulum swinging unnaturally fast, as if time itself has gone mad. From a rusty keyhole, thick fog seeps out, and a glowing eye peers back. The mirror screams with a distorted face, before cracking apart. And on the floor, candles burn in a ritual circle, their flames twisting violently as shadowy figures gather around in silence. Across the cracked walls, a crawling shadow moves like a spider, twisting unnaturally as a broken music box plays its distorted lullaby. In the dust of the hallway, fresh footprints appear one by one, though no one walks there. Flames in the fireplace take the shape of a screaming face, while a pale ghost crawls upside down across the ceiling, her long black hair swaying in the air. From the eyes of an old portrait, blood begins to seep, dripping slowly down the canvas as a forgotten statue turns its head to stare with glowing red eyes. A bloody hand slams against the fogged window, leaving streaks behind, while furniture floats violently across the room, crashing against the walls. And in the darkest hall of the Haveli, rusted chains sway and rattle on their own, echoing like cries from the dead. In the silence of the corridor, only the flicker of dying lights reveals a shadow that dares to come closer. A wheelchair rolls through the abandoned hospital, moving on its own, its squeak echoing like a scream. The mirror cracks, and within the fractures, a face smiles, though no reflection should exist. Family portraits on the wall twist in horror, their eyes turning black as if cursed by something unseen. A doll stares back, its broken head snapping with an unnatural turn. The old grandfather clock strikes midnight, yet no bells, only the cry of a woman long gone. On the window, bloody hands press against the glass, begging for escape. In the playground, swings sway, while laughter of the dead fills the night air. Through the forest, a man's light flickers, and pale figures stand among the trees, before vanishing into the dark. At the dining table, food decays in seconds, chairs scrape backward, as if invisible guests have finally taken their seats. The silence is broken as a dusty old radio crackles to life, whispering in a voice that speaks in reverse. An empty rocking chair sways violently, as if an unseen force refuses to sit still. A candle's flame trembles and dies with a cold breath, drowning the room in suffocating darkness. Down the hallway, every door slams shut at once, the echo shaking the very walls. A child's ball rolls across the floor, stopping at your feet, followed by faint laughter in the distance. From the ceiling, thick drops of blood begin to fall, staining the ground below. The portrait of an old woman twists into a smile, her painted eyes shifting to watch your every move. At the corridor's end, a white figure waits, yet when approached, it crumbles into ash. Outside, the swing creaks violently, moved by hands that do not exist. And as lightning strikes, the room fills with shadowed figures, standing still, watching, before vanishing into the darkness once again.